Mom-to-be lent 4-pound swarm of bees on her body for a maternity photo shoot, unaware of its consequences. Emily and Ryan Mueller are one of those couples who, along with sharing their personal lives, also share their professional lives with each other. They run a bee removal company together and have been crediting each other for its success. The couple is known in surrounding for their love of bees. That's why they decided to include bees in Emily's maternity pictures. Mother of 3 children, Emily was very much excited about her 4th maternity shoot with bees. Unsurprisingly, the pictures went viral once they put it up on social media. The couple and their upcoming baby had become famous overnight. However, things took a drastic turn when something unexpected followed after this unique shoot. Unlike many people, Mueller has a soft spot for honeybees. They never go hard on them and in fact very delicately remove the honeybees from people's houses and businesses. Their website reads that the pair is saving bees one hive at a time. After recovering them, they provide bees with a sanctuary. Emily Mueller lives with her family in Ohio. She's a full-time beekeeper along with a mother of 3 children. She runs the Mueller honeybee removal with her hubby Ryan, and they founded the company in 2015. She says that the bees have been a big part of their lives. If we talk about the number of beehives they've acquired, it's 24, and that means the couple have rescued about 1.2 million honeybees so far, and the mission's still on. The business is going places, and that's why they launched yet another business named the Mueller Honeybee, in which they trade honey and natural remedy products. The Muellers definitely have a soft spot for honeybees. It may not go down well with many people who are scared of bees, but it's not that the couple never feared them. Emily Mueller admits that in her childhood she was afraid of the honeybees, but after her father took up the job of beekeeper, she began to like them. Even their second business was a success. The couple was at an important inflection point as they were undergoing expansion in both their professional and personal life. In early 2017, Emily learned that she had life breathing inside her, and the woman was pregnant for the 4th time. The special news would be celebrated in a special way, and that's what the couple did. Everything was going great in their lives. Their business was growing, they were going to become parents again, but little did they know something unexpected was in the offing for them. The journey they'd undertaken was going to end on an unimaginable note. The Muellers planned on taking some amazing maternity pics of Emily. Taking maternity photos before the birth of a child is very much in trend these days. Many renowned celebrities have done it too. The trend is being followed by ordinary people too, though. The Muellers wanted to do that. But Emily and her husband were not going to follow it the conventional way. They had something on their minds. The couple wanted Emily's maternity photos to be different, so they added a twist. Before revealing what they did actually do to make their photos special, let me tell you that when their photos came out, it shook the viewers to their core. They decided to include honeybees in their pictures. They weren't thinking of giving bees the background space, but they intended on making them part of the main attraction. Now you must be wondering, how are they going to do that? Well, wait and watch. Through the pictures, the couple not only wanted to share the good news with their dear ones, but also wanted to show their love for bees. As decided, Emily was going to give pose with a swarm of honeybees all over her womb. Well, only the idea sends a chill down our spine, and the duo actually did it. How many bees do you think were included in the photo shoot? Well, there were about 20,000 bees that graced the maternity photos of Emily. According to the woman, bees symbolized a new chapter of her and her family's life, and she said, "Bees represent life and death." She added, "We've had 3 miscarriages, so these pictures are dedicated to life and death, to all of the children we've had." The Muellers arranged all the photo shoot with Kendra Damas, their photographer. Soon they were outdoors shooting. It wasn't without a reason she was comfortable with bees. She admitted, "Bees came into my life in a time when she just suffered a miscarriage. It was our 2nd miscarriage and we were trying to get pregnant," Mueller explained. "I wanted to find an outlet for that emotion, and that's where everything fell into place for me, when honeybees entered into my life." Bringing the bees to her belly was an arduous task for them, but they managed to pull it off once they displaced the queen bee from her hive. Consequently, that made the colony chase her. They even fed the bees before clicking pictures in order to prevent any biting. The woman was holding the queen bee in her hand, whereas all the other bees were scattered over her belly. While taking the pictures, she made sure not to hold the bee tightly and squish her. She kept the bee in her hand as long as the photo shoot continued. After having the bees gathered all over her belly, Damas started taking the pictures. The photos came out way better than they'd expected, and they were extremely happy and decided to share them with the world. They put the pictures out on the internet. Emily even shared the feelings she had when bees were crawling all over her belly. "It was like this prickly feeling, very warm, and it smells like lemongrass all at the same time," she recalled. "It's kind of like when a kitten crawls on you." Not only did the couple enjoy the photo shoot, but the photographer felt lucky to capture the pictures. Damus said, "Ever have a once-in-a-lifetime experience? Well, that's what I got when I was hired to do maternity photos for Emily Mueller." So how'd the viewers react to the unbelievable pictures? The photos left viewers in disbelief. Unsurprisingly, people had different opinions about the photos. Where some were mesmerized by the beauty of the pictures, there were also some who criticized the idea by calling it risky. The photos were shared over 10,000 times and gathered more than 5,000 likes. They criticized Emily for being so careless. However, Emily did give an answer to those negative comments. "What the F, my skin is crawling," one person commented. The other wrote, "That many bee stings could make her go into anaphylactic shock and could harm her and especially the baby. Why even take the risk?" Emily thought of updating the critics with some information about the situation. She shared that everything was perfectly fine even though she was stung thrice during the shoot. She even clarified that none of the bees intentionally stung me. It was my own fault. I didn't realize there was one on my arm. They faced no complications after the shoot and she and the baby were doing fine. "I never once thought there'd be issues," Mueller opened up. "I'm stung pretty regularly and I'm very aware of how my body responds when I get stung." She had full confidence in herself as she knew very well how to handle the bees. They even had a backup plan if anything went wrong. It was decided the woman would take off the dress immediately and sprint to the garage. In the garage, the woman would be separated from the bees. However, everything went according to plan and they didn't have to resort to the backup. She told the Daily Mail, "A lot of people think I'm insane, but I'm so comfortable with bees, so it was never something I had anxiety about. I wore a dress that was long and covered my stomach and legs so the bees would be on the outside of my body as a cautionary measure, but I knew it was safe." She also said, "I pressed my hands to my belly because bees follow their queen so they'd settle on my womb. People feel like I'm endangering my child, but it's due to a lack of education on honeybees. They don't understand how gentle they really are." The woman began getting comfortable around the bees when her father took the job of beekeeping. However, her father couldn't continue with his work as he got a stroke. It was then he gave his equipment to Mueller to carry the legacy further. So she'd spent most of her time around bees. "I'm in my beehives on a regular basis. I do it as a full-time job, so for me it's normal to have bees on me," she explained. She stated, "Honeybees are very gentle and docile, and we need to be aware of how important they are. If we don't start taking measures to save them now, we're going to have long-term problems." Well, everything she said makes sense. Instead of killing them blindly, we should be more considerate. Her photos had taken the netizens by storm. They wanted more updates on her pregnancy, and there were comments asking about it. People even gave the name to Mueller's coming baby. They called the baby Little Beekeeper. Emily was actually pregnant thrice before. She has 3 children, Caden 11, Madeline 4, and Weston 2. Unfortunately, unlike the previous times, Emily gave birth to a stillborn. She shared the news with her followers. Emily posted, "It is with the most deepening sadness I share that our sweet emissary Jacob was born an angel yesterday at 10:18 p.m. He weighed 7 pounds 1 ounce and was 20.25 inches long. Please pray for us today and the days to come," she added. The child was stillborn and was delivered 6 days before the expected due date. The woman shared that she had already begun to sense a problem after she stopped feeling any movement, after she started having very painful contractions. The contractions were in no way similar to the ones they felt before the birth of their other children. However, the woman ignored her hunch and reassured herself the baby was fine. However, deep down she knew something was wrong. "I just told myself he was sleeping," she shared on Facebook, "but as the time passed, I felt uneasy about it." Their worst nightmare came true when they attempted to monitor their baby's heartbeat. No matter how much the couple tried, they couldn't sense any movement, and Emily, devastated, quickly called her midwife for assistance. A male obstetrician suggested her visit to a local hospital. "I'm glad he did because I still felt I needed to give it time, but I knew in my heart something was wrong." Doctors did a thorough examination of the baby and broke heartbreaking news to the couple. Their unborn baby had died in her womb. They needed to pull the baby out of her as soon as possible. This is how she delivered a stillborn. It was sad news not only for the couple but those people who were waiting for the birth. "Yesterday evening we had to hand over our precious child and say goodbye to his physical body forever," said Emily. There was no end to their pain. Emily further wrote, "Our baby has died. Our baby will never come home with us. This wonderful rainbow baby we were blessed with has now become a storm in our lives. Finding out your baby died is unfathomable. Learning you have to be induced and deliver your deceased child is way beyond that. My heart instantly ached for any woman that has told me she has a stillborn." The ending of the story was not like they'd expected. She wrote, "I truly thought we would be sent home with a smile, telling us to just wait for the arrival of our sweet Emerson who was due in 6 days. I can't and don't want to explain the feeling to anyone. Turning to your husband and seeing him die inside, seeing him completely break, seeing your children feel and suffer your pain in front of your eyes, the pain's unbearable." The Muellers were left with grief and questions. What caused her baby's death? She'd been taking all the necessary steps to keep the baby healthy and fit. The issue of blood clotting runs in her family, and Emily suspects maybe that's what caused her baby's death. The couple was devastated, but not alone. Emily said, "I have a very strong feeling that this was a blood clotting issue, as those traits have been affecting our immediate family for some time. Many cases of blood clotting had emerged in recent times, but not for once did she think it would affect her unborn baby." The internet is an amazing place to be at. It's changed many lives, some for worse and some for better, not to forget the lives it connected. Whereas for some it became the reason for their distortion, some people got well-wishers on it. Likewise, the Muellers had many well-wishers. Their followers showed their love for the couple by dropping warm messages and prayers. Emily wrote, "You couldn't deny he was loved by so many people, and we continue to see this through the outpour of love and support you're all providing. Just knowing people are thinking about us and hurting with us relieves so much of our own pain." 3 months went by in grief and sorrow. However, the couple soon got over the trauma when in February they learned that Emily was pregnant again. This pregnancy was not easy for them as their hearts were still filled with fear springing from the last one. It has to be the most anxiety-ridden, terrifying experience that anyone could ever imagine, Emily admitted. You just realized how fragile life is, and there's nothing you can do to stop your baby from dying inside of you. So every day is lived in an extreme amount of fear. Like the last time she posed for a maternity photo shoot, this one was a tribute to her stillborn child. Bees stuck by her in the pictures this time too. Not only were there bees, but some of the pictures showed the woman carrying a large snake on her belly and a bird sitting on her finger. The strength Emily portrays as a mother is admirable to say the least, Damus, the photographer, stated. When she mentioned wanting to exhibit that strength by turning herself into a goddess for her maternity shoot, "I wanted to make that vision come to life. Her ideas are unique just as she is, and that is one of the reasons I love her so." No need to say this photo shoot of her has attracted the eyeballs too. These amazing pictures of Emily painted in gold in a Cleopatra-themed shoot. You can also see her wearing a headdress formed of 16,000 swarming bees. The woman got stung by only one of the bees during the photo shoot. However, the very next day she got ready for the shoot with the same enthusiasm. Emily held 12,000 bees the following day while posing for the maternity shoot. They had to go through a lot of preparation while posing for the shoot, and Emily described, "We had to put sticks into my bald cap and put a ring of grass on it because the bees couldn't grip onto the cap as it was soft plastic. Then my husband emptied the bees onto the ground and we just stood there and waited. We put the queen bee on my head and they swarm up to wherever the queen is, and that was my head." This wasn't it. They had many new ideas in their minds, and after posing with bees, the couple hired Outback Ray, who rented them animals for their shoot. Emily recalled he had a yellow python. It wasn't dangerous. This guy travels to elementary schools and has kids hold them and hold a snake. Frighteningly, the woman posed with an 8-foot-long yellow python. Clearly, you can see in this picture the python is coiled around her body. Initially, she was nervous as she had no previous experience with snakes, but soon got comfortable after learning that the snake hadn't hurt anyone. For her, the shoot was really cool and an amazing experience. Emily said, "We have a very animal-oriented family. We teach our children about bugs, reptiles, insects. We take nature walks, and it's part of the family." She also talked about her stillborn child and the traumatic experience they had after losing him. Really, the message is that you can't take life for granted, and if you have something you want to do, you have to do it now. Losing our son was very detrimental to our lives. Both our hearts were broken. It was extremely devastating, and it's a very long process getting used to living your life without a child you were supposed to have. She further shared, "We were very excited when I felt pregnant again, but it has been very intense and scary. People accuse me of being unsafe with the previous shoot, and it's not. I want the message to be, do what makes you happy.